Hello, welcome to week 5 of the course. We're getting toward the end. This week you'll be looking at the post-exile. So last week I explained a little bit more about how the exile happened and how the people were taken away. So what happened was, as you read in Jeremiah, they were carted off to Babylon, to the Babylonian Empire. And as they went off to that location, again, struggling with the theology of what had just happened to them, as a nation, as a people, they ended up in Babylon or around that area and began to thrive. Jeremiah told them to seek the welfare of the city, to pray for the welfare, to raise gardens, to have children, to really sink their roots deeply in that area. Well, what happened was, after 70 years, new leadership took over, and they were given the opportunity to come back. So some of the Jews did. Some stayed, but some did. And as they began to come back after this 70-year time period, they came back to Jerusalem, which was a city just completely destroyed. The phrasing that is used is, there was not one stone left upon another. Now, whether that was true or not is not, we're not sure, but it definitely was flattened. It was destroyed. The temple was destroyed. The walls were destroyed. And so the question that the people who returned had to ask was, well, what do we build first? Do we work on the temple? Do we work on the walls? There were prophets at that time, like Zechariah, who were encouraging the people to build the temple. There were others like Nehemiah, who you'll read this week, who came back and felt like, the wall, the protection is what's important. And so that's what you'll be looking at, the rebuilding of the walls. But the temple was also rebuilt at that time. And that was more, you can read about that if you wanted to read further in the book of Ezra. So as this is all taking place, there's this real sense of the nation coming back together. Now, this is the last Old Testament reading. Next week, it'll just be in the New Testament. And so this sets up the time which is called the intertestamental period, the time between the Old Testament and the New Testament, this gap that's happening as far as the scripture is concerned. The people resettle back in the land. It's where the rise of groups like the Pharisees, the rise of the synagogues, which again you've already read in week 1, those kind of things begin to come to the surface during this intertestamental period after the people resettle into the land. You'll also be looking at the Apostle Paul. So moving on from Acts, the Apostle Paul was the primary writer of most of the New Testament. He was also a missionary. He visited numerous places around the then known world, around the Roman world, planting churches in a variety of places. And specifically, you're going to read one of his letters. It's a shorter letter. It's a letter of 2 Corinthians. And the reason for that is there's so much in there about reconciliation. A couple weeks ago, I had you read Job, because suffering is such a big issue in our land, in our world, in our time. I want you to read 2 Corinthians to think about reconciliation, because again, that's a huge issue in our culture, in our society, in our interpersonal relationships with one another, in our churches. And so 2 Corinthians is where you'll be landing to learn a little bit more about Paul and about what he does. So as you interact with that, I trust that will be helpful for you. Then the discussion this week is a little bit different. You may have seen already in the syllabus or in the course that we're going to be doing a voice thread this week. A voice thread is simply this. Think about a campfire. When you're sharing stories around the campfire, a story that is shared and picked up by someone else and kind of all the way around the circle. That's what we're going to be doing this week. So rather than typing out your answers, typing out your questions, we're going to be interacting through voice, but at a time scale whenever you choose to log in and whenever you choose to respond. And so you'll need to set up an account. It's free. I guarantee they will not send you spam or emails, or basically you're just setting up an account. You can set it up as easily as you want. You'll click the link in the course that will take you either within the course, you'll be able to interact, or if needed, you can actually go out to the VoiceThread website. You'll see all the different things. Please watch the introductory video that I have there. There's about 5 slides that will take you to the actual discussion thread. So please don't start discussing until you get to the slide that says discuss here. And then I'll prompt you. You won't need to have a prompt, from your reading, I'll prompt you from something that will engage you to talk further about these issues that we've talked about in this video. So I look forward to hearing your voice and to be able to interact with you in that way rather than in the discussion forum. So the principles still apply, looking for one major post and then responding to 2 others throughout the course of the week, and that will happen in the voice thread. So I look forward to interacting and I look forward to hearing your voices and to having a further discussion on these passages about the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians and the post-exile period. Have a great week.